And here's another game from the JHU IAC KSA StarCraft 2 2v2 tournament. Here is Calc and his ally Penguin again spawning as the two Terran players over here, red and blue. Their opponents are going to be Persuade and his ally Romance Dawn, the Zerg and Protoss team over here, and this is Scorched Haven, one of the 2v2 maps that is currently still actually in the map pool. We'll see who is able to take this game away. Calc over here gonna start making those SCVs. This map is really awkward in that there's basically no third base except for this one over here, and it's not even an island, so it's very difficult to actually secure a third base for both of your players, both teammates. I guess it's very easy to actually take your natural expansion, especially if you're two Terrans. You just wall off over here, take a fast expand, and then just ball up a big Marines and Marauders and just go for the attack and win. So we'll see if that's something that they do decide to do. Calc getting a little bit supply blocked over there. Probably did not send that SCV out early enough. SCV does get zapped in the face by the probe. Unfortunately for him, the probe's taser is not something that causes you to spaz on the ground. You just kind of run away from it and you'll be okay. There's the barracks coming up. Calc opting not to wall off Romance Dawn, doing the blocking action over here. Looks like he probably did want to wall off like Penguin is right now, but the probe was blocking that, so he's going to build his barracks back by his his command center. There's the gateway coming up as well as the first gas. Zerg is opting to get his pool and then his gas, his gas and then his pool over here. Persuade is playing as the yellow Zerg player. And there's an Overlord also moving out, probably gonna spot over here for any low ground shenanigans, maybe for some drops that might pop through that side. There's an Overlord also moving in this direction, gonna do some spotting over here as well. The orbital command is coming up again. Calc not getting his orbital command. There's something strange about this. Finally, the orbital command coming up. Usually when we watch Terran versus Terrans, we get exact mirror builds with no difference whatsoever. But in this case, looks like we have some deviation, some sort of bad deviation actually. There's another barracks coming up. Gonna be walling this off. Calc. Yeah, the two supply depots over here, very vulnerable to baneling busts, but not if they decide to go for some sort of fast expand. There's the concussive shells coming up for the Marauders, gonna make them all that more effective against Protoss units such as the Stalker. Also makes Zealots have severe concussions. They can't walk forward anymore. And here's the probe gonna be moving out. There's a Zealot making sure that there's nothing funny on the edge of his base. Usually Terran players don't do anything like that, but in 2v2 you can never be too safe. There's the 4 Zerglings advancing forward for Romance Dawn. For Persuade, 4 more Zerglings are in the production queue. A couple more seconds and we'll have our concussive shell upgrade. There it is, and the Zergling speed is also about to finish. Calc and Persuade look like, Calc and Penguin look like they're going to be doing a similar build to their last game. Gonna be grabbing another gas over here, another barracks coming down, probably gonna do some massive infantry pushing again. Persuade actually doing some pretty good spotting action around the map. He's got his Overlord over here. There's a pylon being built over here. Looks like they're gonna do some 4 warp gating action. There's just enough space there for some Zealots, maybe even a Stalker, so that they can bust into the Terran main. We'll see if this is successful. There's the 4 warp gates finishing up right now for Romance Dawn. There's the warp gate opening up and the Zerglings advancing forward. They do have speed. We'll see if Penguin and Calc are able to hold this off. There's the first 2 Zealots advancing into the base. We'll see how much damage they're able to do. I'd like to see him hide these. Yeah, hide these in the corner until he's got a full warp in. See if he can get another warp in out. Looks like Calc and Penguin are advancing forward. The Zerglings should try to bait them into advancing forward. Maybe show a few less units. There's the Zealots and the Stalkers advancing forward. Gonna be doing some massive damage to Penguin's forces. Looks like the Zerglings over here might be able to cut off Calc's forces from being able to reinforce. There's the Zerglings advancing forward. Gonna be able to pick off all of those units. Looks like Penguin is going to lose the vast majority of his SCVs. However, should be able to clean up this attack force shortly. Going to be taking out those 2 Stalkers. These 2 Zealots wreaking havoc. 8 kills on this guy, 10 kills on this one. 2 more Zealots coming in here. Going to see if he can do some more damage. Going after the SCV. Looks like the Zerglings over here trying to nibble away at this wall. More Marines popping out there. Going to deny the advance forward. The Marines and Marauders finally finding that pylon. Romance Sun would be wise to move his probe away and send him back to mining. There's the Zerglings nibbling away at the front. They could easily bust down this front and just run in there and do a ton more damage. There's another pylon going down. Romance Sun is going to continue advancing with these forces, and the wall goes down, advancing into the base. Calc is trying to come over here with his forces, but Romance Sun is going to come through the backside and do a ton of damage with his 4 Warp Gate units. More Zerglings are coming across the map. Over here, no, those were from before. Looks like the 4 Warp Gate with the Zergling speed is completely successful. Another pylon being warped in. More Stalkers are on the way. More units. GG calls Calc, and this game does go to Romance Sun and his ally Persuade.